What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at Aliens, the arcade game made by Konami, which was released back in 1990. I don't remember seeing this game much in the arcade, so I was excited to play this. And although it never got a port on consoles, it definitely deserves one. This game is based loosely on the second movie in the Alien franchise series, and although there's liberties taken in the game, it is nice to see that most of the movie is represented with many familiar locations and enemies throughout the game. And Aliens, like many arcade games from the time, utilizes the classic 2-button control scheme with one button used for the standing shot and one button used for the crouching shot. The controls are easy to learn and get used to, with only a few minor exceptions, like when you get a bomb, you need to crouch to throw it, but you're also restricted from shooting in the crouch position until you use your bombs. But otherwise, it plays a lot like your classic Final Fight beat 'em up, and you can clearly see the foundations for where they made the game Aliens vs Predator. And just like with both games, you get the side-to-side movement and up and down fighting actions, and you have many enemies appearing on screen at once that bombard your senses. The simple gameplay back in the day was more of a benefit than a hindrance, because it made jumping into any arcade game easy peasy, and you knew right away how to play most games that you came up to. I think part of what makes this game so much fun is just how non-stop crazy it is and how full of action it is, because there's always multiple enemies on screen coming at you even when you're fighting a boss, but it never becomes overwhelming, which is what makes the game so much fun. There's also these cool level transitions where you get to ride in a vehicle and defend yourself from oncoming xenomorph creatures while racing to the end of the tunnel to rescue the little girl Newt. These transitional stages keep the game moving quick and are simple enough to get through without a problem. In addition, you're granted a large variety of weapons to choose from as you play through the game, and you're even given a large rifle to start off with unlimited ammunition. And another bonus is that any weapon you do pick up also will have unlimited ammo. And speaking of weapons, you do get a few different choices, like the flamethrower, a 3-way shot laser, a 3-bullet shot, and a heat-seeking missile. My favorite was the 3-bullet shot because it hits the most enemies at once and you can shoot at a rapid pace. But to be fair, you can basically shoot each weapon at a rapid pace. And for the enemies, you're going to see all the classics from the Alien series with xenomorphs aplenty and little alien jumpers popping out of their egg cocoons ready to attack and eat your face. But the enemies are just filler to get to the bosses, which are one of the game's main features and highlights. And I really enjoyed each boss battle and learning the patterns to defeat them. Overall, the enemies and bosses don't really add to the game's difficulty other than having some quarter crunching mechanics thrown in, which were standard for the time, such as when you're fighting the alien queen and she throws a million little aliens at you and makes aliens drop from the ceiling. It's just little things like that that are designed to make you lose, and nowadays I can see how people would be annoyed, but for me, that's just part of the gaming experience with arcades. And since I was emulating, pumping extra credits in whenever I needed was never an issue. One thing I haven't experienced but plan on soon is that you can fight the alien queen and get 2 possible victory outcomes. The first being where you open the airlock like in the 1986 film, but there's also an option to fight further for an alternate ending, which I won't spoil. As for the level design, it is varied enough to keep it fresh for the 30-minute playthrough, giving you environmental hazards to deal with, as well as multiple paths in a stage where you can choose to walk on the top or bottom of an area, which in most cases it'll pay to stay on the top. And most of the levels will have a familiar feeling to them if you've ever seen the movies. That, combined with the enemies coming at you, really can make you feel like you're playing through the movie sometimes, even with the simple retro graphics given and the story that you have. As for the game's graphics, they're not bad, and using upscaling shader options, it actually makes the game feel fresh and new, especially with all of the high-paced action games out there. The only thing missing with this one would be higher difficulty and microtransactions, which I'm sure nobody would be missing. Unfortunately, this game never got a console port, but would likely have done well if it was released on the Sega Genesis console or possibly the TurboGrafx 16, but due to the high graphical demands of the game, it likely would have struggled with anything like Super Nintendo without sacrificing quality. Now the question remains, is it still worth playing today, and does it deserve a remake? Well, in North America, the game was declared the best new conversion kit and went on to win awards, making it Konami's second best arcade game in 1990, just after Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The game was also met with mostly positive reception from reviewers, getting a score of 91 from one reviewer, and most hailing the game's graphics and gameplay, but I did find one review giving it as low as a 44% rating due to its quote-unquote bland graphics and irritatingly unresponsive controls and dull action. I seriously don't know what that guy was on, because this game's dope and most of the other reviews were positive, with some reviewers even describing it as being one of the best Alien games ever, and honestly, I can't help but agree. This game was a lot of fun to play, and it kind of seems crazy to say, but with all the game choices out today, for some reason I keep coming back to these classic arcade games. They just give me this great feeling of nostalgia for a time and a place that just doesn't exist anymore. So in my opinion, it's definitely worth a playthrough today if you get a chance, and it could even survive being played a couple times a year. But does it deserve a remake? I'm gonna say yes, it could totally survive getting a remake in the side-scrolling version, but I think it would be even better if it got an isometric or 2.5D remake. I think this game would really thrive, and I don't see any reason why it wouldn't succeed if Konami would just be brave enough to take that leap. Even on the small-scale mobile platform, I think it would be successful. But what do you guys think? Is this game still worth playing in your opinion, and do you think it would be worth a remake? Let me know in the comments below, because that's all I got today, guys. I just want to say thanks for watching, you're amazing, and I'll see you in the next one.